Thank you so much for your guys' entertaining songs. Dick, beautiful reading this morning. Thank you for that, and love the meditation, Jennifer. Thank you. Well, it's actually been a bit since I've spoken here. I was thinking, I think it was actually right when we got back from Bali back in end of February, March time frame. And so I've had some awarenesses, some discoveries since I've last spoken. One of them is don't try to lift a piano by yourself. That was one of them. And also really just feeling like there's something that's flowing more in my life, where there's just less and less resistance as I surrender into just what is, surrendering into life. There's a quote in the Course in Miracles, I think most people, if not all, have probably heard it, that says, there's only either love or fear. And so when for me personally, when I'm going through this, kind of how can I step into the truth of who I am, I'm reminded so often that the struggle of trying to grow, what that looks like, and how do I make room for something. I find for myself a long time, I was just reading so many books, I was listening to so many teachers, and I still do a lot of online listening and looking at quotes and sending quotes out on Facebook and things like that. But more and more, I'm just seeing that there really isn't anything new to discover, right? And we really do a lot of search. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with searching and seeking. It's an important part of the journey. But there also comes a point in time where we have to recognize that there's not more knowledge that we need to gain. It's more an unlearning than it is a learning process. So for me, more and more now, like even when I'm watching videos, I watch a lot of videos of Muji, and he speaks in a way that takes me back home to who I am. And so he's not providing any sort of knowledge to you. He's providing something to help you let go of something that has been in the way of who you are. And so as we're striving to grow and heal, and really what we're all striving for, at least in my estimation, is we just want to be happy, right? We just want to be happy. And how does that look? And so I find for myself, the more that I really just am willing to let go of old stories, it really makes room for something new to present itself. So the question is, how do we let go of old stories? And Jennifer, I loved yours because everyone kind of had a different approach, especially the music. I'm just joking with you. Look very serious on that, because it was, not necessarily creating space, but just the fun playfulness with it. But talking about creating space, and then Dick, just how we're bound by the ropes of life in so many different ways. And so part of it has to be our willingness to let go, our willingness to let go. I was attending Lake Orion Unity, and Reverend Gregory Geist, I don't know if any of you know him, he's an African-American minister that was there. And I say that specifically African-American because one of the people on the board had sent some rather racist, not rather, but very racist emails out to some of the other people that were part of the congregation. And it circled back around that here we have an African-American minister, and this person is actually on the board that's sending this stuff out. So there became this swelling of, do we remove this person from the board, and there's this petition to do that. So I thought, well, in all fairness, they asked me to sign the petition, and I said, I don't understand everything going on. Show me the email, show me what was done so I can make, a healthy decision here. So they showed me that, and I thought, okay, I see that, and I also saw, honestly, that I was carrying some of my own prejudices. And so that was enlightening for me to see that. So I thought, let me talk to this person just to see what his posture is on the whole thing. So as I'm having a conversation with him, he's really just saying how Gregory did this and Gregory does that, and it was just all blame. I go, I want to know where you're at. I want to know what you feel, what you think, you know. And all he could do was just blame. And I thought to myself, wow, you know, I do carry some of my own prejudices. In fact, you know, the word prejudice means to prejudge. We all prejudge people in different ways until we step beyond the mind and the limited thinking of who we are. So we all do that, and I acknowledge, like, yeah, I have some, but the difference is I have a desire and a willingness to move beyond them. And I did not see that with him. I didn't see, and it's okay, that's where he's at. It's not for me then to go on judging him and say, well, you're wrong, because that's just more judgment. It's just more ego. But it was such a beautiful teaching for me to see how we're so easily pulled into certain things. But if we're going to really return home to who we are, which is right here in this space right now, if we're truly to do that, we have to have a willingness and a desire to let go of our past. My brother invited me up to Oscoda, which is where I grew up, part of the time I went to high school at, on Lake Huron. He said, hey, I'm going up north at the campground, and I'm going to be by myself. Linda's not joining me. Would you like to come up? And so I said, I'll get back with you on that. And I was thinking, I don't want to stay too long with my brother. I can't stay too long. So I said, yeah, I'll come up tomorrow. I'll stay overnight, and then I'll probably head out the following day. He said, okay, well, you're welcome to stay longer. I said, can we just make an agreement to not talk politics, you know? And he said, well, I thought that was a given. And I'm like, yeah, right. But yes, it was supposed to be a given, but it didn't always happen. And he would try to lure me, bait me, you know, to have conversation. So he had two of his friends came over from high school, and I didn't know either one of them. He was a couple years ahead of me. And he said, just so you know, my brother feels differently on politics, so can you please not speak of that? So that was good. He honored that. So we had two or three friends that were there, three friends that we spent some time with, and then it was just my brother and I, and you know where this is going. So we're around the campfire. My brother is a very strongly opinionated person. He kind of has a Napoleon complex. He's a little shorter, you know, and he always had to kind of make his way through the world in a way of kind of protecting himself in some way. So it didn't take long for him to begin to express what the truth was and enlightening me. And so I thought, okay, you know what? I can have this conversation. I mean, what's wrong with having the conversation, right? If I don't take it personal, right? So any case, so we began to just have this heated conversation. And so oftentimes in the past, when we went to family holidays, my brother and I would just get in these huge blow-ups, and here the whole family is there, and we just tainted it, the sacredness of whatever holidays were. We just tainted it with all this horrible anger and animosity. And so we're having this conversation. I'll be honest with you, my memory's not that great. I don't really follow politics that much. I know what my heart says. I follow my heart. That's kind of my approach. That doesn't work for him, you know, because this, and he's very much in his head about so many things. And he began to explain to me why I was wrong. So, any case, we have this conversation, and he's going through all this stuff, and I'm like responding to something he said, and surprisingly, he had the wherewithal to say, sorry to interrupt you, but did you see the beautiful moon? And it was really quite nice hearing that. It's like all of a sudden I just, took a step back, and I go, whoa. I was just so pulled into my ego self, my personal self, that needed things to be a certain way. And I said, yeah, I did. And then at that point, when I returned back to my heart, I said, I'm not sorry for the conversation. I see that, maybe some things need to be said, and maybe we emptied some things out, but I love you. And he said, I love you too. And it was this beautiful happening, and the only reason this could happen is because there has to be some kind of desire and willingness to let go of our self-righteousness, right? Our self-righteousness gets in the way in so many ways. We see it a lot politically. And you'll be happy to know I'm not going to talk politics. I just want to say, you know, the people that we're judging and saying, why are they thinking this way? Why are they voting that way? Why are they doing this? Can we have just the awareness, the wisdom to just take a step back and look within our hearts and say, what is it that I'm holding on to that is keeping me from moving forward, that's keeping me from allowing something new in my life? Because if there's only either fear or love, I know when I'm judging somebody, when I'm stressed, it's always fear, always, always, always. Because love is not rooted in that. And so, you know, it's just such a teaching. I hear, in fact, I was doing a wedding for a good friend of mine, and his wife is Native American, and it was just this beautiful, beautiful ceremony. And I said to her when we were setting up the wedding, I said, hey, how would you like to do smudging at the ceremony, or that we do smudging? And she said, oh, that would be a horrible idea. And I go, oh, really? And she said, my cousin would hate that because my cousin feels that smudging has been so bastardized over the years of, you know, it's become so commercial. And I said, well, can we have your cousin do it then? And so she did. And we had this beautiful ceremony. It started with a meditation, and we did the smudging. And it was just really just such a beautiful, sacred wedding. It was just really put everyone in their heart. So afterwards, somebody comes up to me that was more fundamental type Christian, and we're having a nice conversation. And she said to me, because she didn't know where I was at, because I wasn't saying I was Christian or Buddhist or what I was just sharing something sacred with everybody, and I didn't care where anybody was at. But I think she made an assumption, and she starts talking to me about Christianity and how, you know, the problem is with people who aren't Christian, you know, and then she begins to tell me what the problem is. And I said, isn't that our work? Isn't that our homework? You know, because so oftentimes we're just saying this is the problem, they are the problem, and we stop right there. I feel that, is this cracking? Boo, boo, bah. I can switch over to this. You want me to switch over to this? Is it a little too close? Well, no, that I got. Here, we switch. Yeah. Spitting. So, any case, yeah. So, you know, we are given these opportunities, and they are opportunities to see where we are stuck at. I mean, in the political realm, we're stuck. A lot of people are stuck. We have such anger and frustration. Why are you thinking this way? I can't believe that they would vote in this direction. Do they not get it? And I'll be honest with you, I go there too. I go there too. And it's okay, by the way, that we go there, but do you have a openness, a willing and desire to say, okay, I see that my ego self went there, but am I willing to step beyond that? That's really all that's asked. Look, we all carry many judgments. We carry blame. We all carry that around with us. It's okay. That's just part of the game of life. But the question is, are you willing to let go of it? Part of the reason I wanted to do this talk is because I feel like so many times we're just trying to hear more things. We're trying to learn more things. But I find, and that's fine, there's nothing wrong with that, but I find for myself, it's rather than learning more, it's really more of an unlearning and letting go and coming back to who I am. I also want to say that sometimes when I'm teaching retreats or classes or things like that, I say to people at the beginning, I'm going to offer you an opportunity to let go of a lot of things, and it's completely up to you to do that. But as you do that and you really surrender these old thoughts and these old beliefs, there's a good possibility that confusion is going to present itself. And if it does, fantastic. Why would I say that? Because confusion means that you're letting go of something that you've believed to be true, and now you're saying, wow, who am I really? Who am I? If I let go of all these things, then who am I going to be? Perfect. You're in the perfect place. Because in letting go of the fear, then you have an opportunity to replace it with love. If your heart is in the right place, and I know everybody's heart in here is in the right place. So the more you can just release and let go of that. I feel confident in saying this. In fact, I was just reading this from, I think it was Eckhart Tolle, who said, you can, if you truly, fully surrender, actually, let's see, I'm going to give you the exact words of it here. Oh, no, I'm not. That's my check. I think the papers are over there. It's okay. But he said, if you truly surrender, all that's left is peace, is joy, is love. And we are that. I'm going to, I think, leave with this one other thing. I was reading something by Robert Adams, who's just a beautiful teacher. And he said, when we first start on our journey, he said, you know, people are maybe not sure if God exists. And then there comes a point in time where they say, let me just see if God exists. And by the way, if you don't believe in God, that's fine too. I'll address that in just a moment. But we come to this place where we say, does God exist? And then we start praying to God as if God is something outside of us. And then as we move on our journey, which is true for most of the people in here that at least follow this kind of journey of God, I'll say, life, God, I don't care what you want to call it. It's all the same to me. But then we come to a point where we say, wait a minute, why am I looking outside myself for some man sitting in a throne outside myself? So we come to that place, and then we start looking within. And the next step of the journey is to see that not only is God within, but we are that. We are that which we are looking for. And I don't mean that as just conceptual words. The more I just step beyond this ego self, the more I step beyond the body-mind approach to who I am, that I'm the one making the choices, that I'm the one thinking, that I am just the witness to these things. The more I see myself and experience myself as the witness, I can't separate myself from God anymore. I don't even know what to do in my prayers. I come here and I say, I'm like, Father, I'm like, wait, am I that? Or who am I praying to here, you know? Because you begin to see that when you step beyond the physical manifestation of the world, you begin to melt into this invisible, spacious, beautiful, pure awareness that's there. And that's what we have the opportunity to step into. And so this talk about making room for something new in your life is about taking the opportunity to say, what are my ropes that are binding me? Am I willing to let those go? What do I need to create more space in my life with? How do I do that? And for me, the more I surrender over my life over to God or to life, and I stop fighting, it's like, I don't know anything else I can surrender. I feel like my family I've surrendered, my life I've surrendered, my body I've surrendered. I've surrendered everything that I think I can, but I know there's something else I'm holding on to. And it's okay. That's okay, because we can surrender that as well. I don't know what's left, but can you surrender that as well? I think that's about it. I feel like I want to just say, I'm always so grateful to be here. It's just, this is my spiritual home. My home is my spiritual home too. It's my temple that I go to. But to come here and to just be part of just an openness and the possibilities that are always here. You know, most of you know I drive almost an hour away because when I leave, I feel better than what I came. And I'm just really grateful to always be a part of that. So I'm going to end it right there. I don't know how I was on time, Lariel, but okay.